It's a tender shit. It was nice. It just came out like ice cream.
I haven't had one of those for a while. I wanna live like O.G. Walker's Careless and Me, Nicol Bolas. I wanna live. I wanna fly through this Ravnica, the wind in my horns and the gem at the peak. I did a real shit job there, but do you know it?
I have no fucking idea.
Yeah, I didn't really know it either. Okay, so guess or clue.
I have no idea. Okay, neither do I. So guess. Well, I think that's what I do every week when we're trying to figure out these songs.
Savage Garden does it.
No idea.
It's called the Animal Song. I think it was like on a soundtrack or something.
Nope.
Yeah.
Don't know it.
So this was given me back when Ravnica was still around, obviously. So it's been a while. It's a lot more like Nicol Bolas just wants to live and do his deal, and everybody else wants to stop him.
What's the name of the song?
The Animal Song.
Yep. Nope. I don't know it.
It took me a real long time to like figure it out, and then I didn't do anything with it, and now I'm just remembering how to do it. So that was a shit job.
Well, it was
Ozzy Nate did that.
It was like a last minute. You got to get a song here because we decided to double cast, but it's not really how you guys are going to hear it.
This was going to be like a bonus. This is going to be
bonus or double cast because we're going to have the spoilers in between. Whatever. This is
This is episode 84, but.
Welcome to CommanderSmiths.
We are the CommanderSmiths.
I'm Adam Smith.
And I'm Lowry Smith.
Don't worry.
We're cousins.
We're cousins.
We're
cousins. This is episode number 84. Mm-hmm. We just recorded 82.
Unless we just push this shit off and do something. Maybe it's a bonus episode. I don't know.
84.
That's what I'm pushing for. All right, 84.
Well, it is a special episode because this is almost going to be a finance episode here because we're going to talk about rotating cards.
Yeah, rotating cards. There's going to be a big rotation here with Standard changing with Throne of Eldraine coming in.
So we're going to lose Ixalan, Rivals of Ixalan, Dominaria, and Core Set 2019.
Yeah, and we just want to talk about cards. Like, this is kind of a finance one, and also, like, the list was more like, I'm just filling out my collections and cards that I think are good, stuff I wouldn't want to get rid of at these prices. And, it's kind of a whole big thing. It's just hold on to them, acquire them.
And we'll point out, too, as we're going, like, certain cards stick out more than others, being like, pick these up now, prices are going to go up. Yeah. Pick up multiples if you want to make some money off of them. Some cards, when we say go for the foils, cool. They're cheap enough where you can go get the foils, that if these cards take off, the foils are the first thing going to spike with these. So there's a different variation of these. These are just cards in general, like Larry's saying, to have in your collection to use for certain decks. They're going to be good tools to add to your toolbox.
Because an example right now, if you follow us on Twitter, I kind of showed you. I got Nicol Bolas the Ravager for.
That was a couple weeks ago, Lowry.
Yeah, that was a couple weeks ago. But people are dumping stuff that I wouldn't normally get from Standard because they're trying to.
Get ready for the new
Standard. Retain their value a little bit, get ready for the new Standard, try and get new cards coming in. And this is the time when I kind of come in and pick up cards that are declining.
You swoop in.
It's not... Caw-caw! Exactly. That's the noise I make in my sleep, too. That's how I snore.
Caw-caw! Caw-caw!
But this is definitely the time when I'm picking up a bunch of cards just to fill up just the collection, or if I'm like, all right.
No, at this point, do you normally pick up cards extra? Like, are you trying to, besides your playset, these cards that we're mentioning, do you get a bunch and be I think this card has a good potential to go way up?
Some of these cards on the cheaper end end up getting into bulk boxes, and that's what I keep an eye out for, or because people are even dumping their bulk from like draft. They're like bringing it into stores. How much do you want for this box? And they're like, we'll give you $5. That I would go through. If you're doing that, keep these cards. Or like even some of the commons. We mostly avoided the commons because those are hard
Yeah.
Like, most of those aren't going to be
even when you get to
above,
the
like,
uncommons of stuff, except for Dominaria has the special legendary creatures that were uncommons. Actually, we got legendary creatures in Eldraine that are uncommon
as well.
Yeah,
that green-red Gobbo.
Yeah.
Looks cool.
So those are a little more expensive because they're a little more tough to come by. Like Tatiova is a good example of that. But first, before we get into the episode, where can people like find us and do things with us?
As I said, you could, if you're following us on Twitter, that's kind of where we try and interact with people. And
we have a lot of things on there. You have your
not sharing with Adam, and then number 2 does not sharing with Lowry.
Yep, and Adam, I do not sharing with Lowry. So we have
whatever.
Then we have Trombley and Jeremy saying don't follow this and stop doing that. It's not a thing.
They're being jerks about it.
It is a thing.
Yeah,
asshole.
That's not.
And then we have Proxy of the Week, hashtag Proxy of the Week. We are doing the new segment. We're continuing the segment of ANL questions.
Hashtag ANL questions. If you have any questions.
A little L and a capital L.
A little
N, a capital L questions.
Yeah.
All one word.
At this point, we might actually have. But if you have any questions, just ask us there. Or you can email us those questions as well if you don't want to accidentally type in anal.
What? Is that what that is? I thought it was just ANL questions. ANL questions.
What happens if their phone autocorrects it to that? Like, they're in trouble.
It means they've been typing into their search for what they're into.
I'm just trying not to get people in trouble.
It's prediction text, so it knows what they like to write a lot.
It's a problem sometimes.
Anal's never a problem.
Yeah. Hey, Mom, do you have any ANL questions? And
why are you asking your mom about anal questions?
Maybe she listens with you. Maybe there's a family event. You sit down and you're like, I'm going to have some biscuits.
And who sits around like a dinner? Is it the old time radio instead of watching TV? Of the radio turned on to your?
I would love that. We are somebody's mealtime program.
I hope not.
Biscuits, mashed potatoes, a little side.
That's 2 weeks ago, Lowry.
You son of a bitch.
Puking milk. Oh wait, that's 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, we just did that.
Okay, and then I think that's it for Twitter wise. Oh, that's also where you can find out if we're ever delaying any episodes, whatever. Oh, yep. And speaking of not sharing with Adam, we have a new beer this week.
Actually sharing with Adam. This one's another Boulevard, and this one's going to be tropical. I don't even think we said the last one, but
yeah, I read it when you were wanted me to stall.
All right, this one's going to be a pale ale with grapefruit and passion fruit.
Cheers.
So enjoy.
It's warm.
It's cellar cool.
It's warm.
It's grapefruity.
I like the other one a little better.
I like this one better because it's not going to give me gut rot. So the other one was the jam, but that one's sweet like a shandy. This one's much more sour. This is like a breakfast beer for old people in Florida.
Breakfast.
You just crack it open. Beer. I'm going to have my grapefruit. And then you're good to go.
That's how we're going to have our grapefruit.
That's for sure how I'm eating grapefruit when I'm retired.
Look, it has a picture of a grapefruit on the front.
Yeah.
I don't know why I always have to put an accent whenever I'm trying to do a
somebody
impression.
Not you.
When I'm talking about Cindy. Hey, Adam. How
you doing?
Yeehaw.
You're just jealous.
All right. What else? Oh, we're going into YouTube. Go to YouTube. Check us out there. That's a free way to support our podcast. Like,
and
subscribe.
Then you get to watch a picture.
Yeah, watch a picture.
That's not us either. It's more like a
for
logo.
now.
For now, we might eventually do it.
And then we also have other videos on there, but you can subscribe, share there, and that's where you go to our video and do hashtag MeatForce to be in the drawing for a Proxy of the Month week.
And this is probably still September, right?
Yes, it is September.
This will be the last one in September.
Let me make sure. Yes. No, we'll have one more after this, I think. Well, the podcast will come out on the 30th. This is at least September, so we can discuss when we do the other one.
So, yeah, good job.
And then you already kind of covered the email stuff a little bit.
Email us anything you want that you don't want to be on. If you're not on Twitter, just email us stuff. That's fine.
Private pictures?
No. Okay. Don't keep those to yourself.
Don't keep those to yourself?
I was burping.
And then the last thing to actually give us money-wise support the show, we can go to Patreon there.
Yep.
Potentially not potentially.
We got a lot of dreams and wishes, but I could also just update the card table that we work on.
For what? to do our
what we're doing right
video.
now. This looks like awful. We can't video this. I'm gonna have to put a tablecloth over this.
It looks like you have like cigarette burns in here, but I know no one smokes, so
Nobody
it's like
smokes here.
I don't know why you have all these little.
They're just getting old. This thing's like 40 years old. This is like it's wood grain plastic top
with the metal. It's a folding table. It's pretty sweet. It's classy. Stay classy, Lowry Smith.
Yep.
Okay, so that's the way you go on there. That's where you can get the proxy of the week if you're $5 or more. And if you're out of the country, it's $10 or more or bi-monthly. And then you get to choose the proxies from the proxy of the week stuff. So we send you gifts. Woo!
Unless you don't respond.
Yeah.
And then we don't send you anything.
After I send a message and then I don't get anything and then I say it on the podcast and I still don't get anything, I'm just waiting for your next month's order is what I'm going to do.
I don't know.
Sweet. All right, should we get into this episode? Because this is going to be a long effing episode.
It might be.
Might be somewhere in the middle.
I'm just hoping a mic doesn't drop.
Yeah.
Because we won't
be able to see it because we're...
All right, we're going to start off per set. So the oldest set that we're going to start off with is Ixalan. And
one of my favorite cards. I think it's probably one of the top 2 to 3 cards.
This might be the top spec that we talk about today.
I would say the one that we always forget that's a mask.
Helm of the Host.
Yeah, I think these are my 1 and 2.
Okay, Growing Rights of Itlamok.
It's your fair way to have a Gaia's Cradle.
Yeah, you flip it over into Gaia's Cradle. This card's
better than Gaia's Cradle.
We're looking at Card Kingdom, so we're going to be going off of Card Kingdom prices right now. But that's sitting at $12 right now. This card, sky's the limit on it. This card's crazy.
And you're getting other podcasts, finance. I think Fast Finance actually picked this as one of their picks a couple weeks ago. They were just talking about the foils, the flip foils. So you're getting double-sided foils on these. I picked up a while back the buy-a-box ones are amazing.
And they have different art and stuff like that.
Yeah. So this is for sure a card you need to get in your collection, but this is also a card I think that you could go deep on because when are they going to print flip cards again like this? It's got to go in like a flip set kind of. I wouldn't see this very often in like a Commander product, and that's why... If it does go in, I guess it could go in a Commander product.
I don't think they would do that a
for a
product.
Flip. Yeah, but that's why I would you could go non-foil
they just
foil.
Put Morph out there, which wasn't like a real thing. Why are they going to put Flip
in there? It's not a real
thing. I mean, they made it a real thing.
Yeah,
but like none of those cards that were really expensive got reprinted. They're not going to reprint Growing Rights of Itlamok anytime soon.
So pick this up because if you don't have your Gaia's Cradle, even if you have a Gaia's Cradle, you should have this in that same deck that you have Gaia's Cradle.
Yeah.
So all right, next one on the list
is going to be Vanquisher's Banner. There's basically you choose a creature type, so this is going to fit into your tribal decks.
All tribal, yep.
Whenever you cast a creature spell, you draw a card and it gets +1/+1. This just goes into all tribal.
Yep. Speaking of more tribal, Unclaimed Territory comes into play. You choose a creature type.
Elf.
You get at the very least you get
a forest.
You get a colorless mana. So if you're not casting something that's for your creature type, but if you are playing tribal, you get to choose any one color of any one mana. Spend it only to cast that
like
creature.
3-color Animar elementals. Like that works totally in there. So it's really nice.
Those I would say you could pick up foil. I was picking up foils like a month ago for like $3.
Yeah, I think
this says $3 on Card Kingdom, but I think I was picking those up for $2.50, $3
for sure. Because they have some promo arts of it too, which make it easier to get for foil. Gishath, Sun's Avatar. This is the dinosaur legend. I think this is a card sitting at $5-ish bucks. It's your only dinosaur legend at this point. Dinosaur tribal.
Well, don't you have whatchamacallit?
Zakama?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not dinosaur tribal. That's like land ramp matters type thing. This is...
I thought you just meant like this is the only a dinosaur that...
No, but this is the one that you're building your dinosaur tribal with.
Because it's fitting with all your dinosaurs.
The other one's land ramp style archetype.
Yep, for sure. Get that. Next is Legion's Landing. This is an awesome card. This also has the buy a box promo art, which I would say go for those. I picked up as many of those as I can, which I know I mentioned it before. Fun fact, all those little, if you buy all the buy a box ones, they all fit together in a nice little clean map.
Which is cool, but they're all decently spendy at this point, right? The buy a boxes?
But Itlamok is.
Okay.
Yeah, but the other ones aren't that crazy.
Okay.
But this comes into play. Create a 1/1 vampire with lifelink, and then when you attack with 3 or more creatures, you transform it. It turns into a land.
Yep.
And then you can tap 2 and 1 and make another 1/1 vampire with lifelink.
And I think that's the important thing, where like being able to pay a white and 2 colorless, tap it to create the token. That's going to be a big thing in Commander.
Mm-hmm.
Like this totally fits into
early
Edgar.
game, late game, mid game.
So it's
game.
almost like a weird Windbrisk Heights, which is a solid card, I think. This is pretty cool. The next one that we're going to talk about is Treasure Map.
This is one of my favorites. So this is probably in my top 5, I would say.
Yeah, I haven't really. I only have one.
I used it
so
in
I
a
haven't
lot of
played it
decks.
a whole ton. But this is where you get to tap 1, tap it, scry 1. If you've scried 3 times, you get to flip it. And then you can...
it gives you 3 treasure tokens.
And you can sacrifice a treasure to draw a card. So this is kind of like a bunch of colorless, like drawing and card advantage engine. I think I liked it in my like a black-white deck, or it just seems like it can fit in a lot of archetypes just to help smooth things out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that scry ability just... It's not just putting a token on it and waiting until you get 3 tokens to get your treasure tokens. Yeah. You're actually doing something while you're getting to that point.
Yeah. And right now, Card Kingdom has it at like $250. So, by the way, we're not getting paid to say Card Kingdom, so you should tell them that they should pay us for this episode. We're going to say Card Kingdom a lot.
It was just the easier way to look at the cards while we're scrolling through this, because on Goldfish is what we normally use, but you have to kind of go over the...
visually it's just easier for us to go through it.
So we had
Thematic Compass.
You're taking 2 of them in a row?
I just said the name. Go. You're scrolling.
All right, this one comes into play it's an artifact. Tap 3, search your library for a basic land, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. At the beginning of your end step, if you control 7 or more lands, transform it. It turns into tap to give you a colorless, or tap to remove target attacking creature and opponent controls from combat.
Yeah, I think this being able to, like, Journeyer, or I think it's called Journeyer's Kite, being able to search for a land, put it in your hand, and then that was decent. And then this is printed, and it flips into a Maze of Ith style card. Like, this seems really solid. At $250 again, I can see this going up to, double, triple, easy.
And early game... amazing, because you keep searching for more land because you don't have 7 mana out yet, and late game it's the Maze of Ith stuff. So it's nice when you have cards that have multiple level. Like if there's a card that's just like, oh, this is only good for this beginning of the game, early game.
This fits both.
Yeah, it kind of sucks. It doesn't
also
suck.
Being
it's just
colorless can fit in a lot of decks.
And this is the flip card stuff. All these have the buy a box art, so you have the potential to go for those.
If you haven't noticed, we kind of like the flip cards.
Flip cards they're awesome. Most of them. There's probably
There's a couple that aren't
just
awesome,
like,
but
10%.
Sanctum Seeker. And this is whenever a vampire you control attacks, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life.
So it's a good way to hit the whole board at once if you have a vampire.
An Edgar
deck.
Exactly.
Stop saying the same words.
No, you're copying me. This is whatever.
Deck. One of my favorite cards, Revel in Riches. This one I would say go for foils on this, because I remember picking, unless the foils jumped on these. That's the hard part about looking at it.
Yeah, we're not looking at foils or anything.
And Card Kingdom, I can't see the foils unless I click on the card, but this is whenever a creature an opponent control dies, you get a treasure token to replace that. And then if you have 10 or more treasure tokens, you win the game. So at the beginning of your upkeep.
Yeah.
So this doesn't even have to go with killing their creatures off. You could just be a treasure token kind of deck, and this wins you the game.
Add up to it. So I think the more they do treasure tokens, the better this card gets.
Yeah.
Settle the Wreckage, 2 colorless. Oh, yeah. Everybody kind of knows this card. It was crazy. But exile all attacking creatures, and they get to put that many lands into play. This is just... It's a one-sided board wipe. They don't have to be attacking you.
I would say the one thing that kind of hurts this card is the Modern Horizons one that came out.
Winds of Abandon?
Yeah.
I believe it is.
I think that one's better because it hits everybody and it doesn't have to be attacking. And then everybody gets land, but this is still good. I mean, don't get me wrong.
It's a nice little trick.
Yeah.
I think sitting at $2 is decently cheap. Probably has a better chance of going up because of maybe Modern.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I think this is a solid play.
Yep. Arcane Adaptation. This is a similar card to Conspiracy. Conspiracy is a $20...
It's a $10 card.
I guess I'm going foil. Yeah, $20, $30 foil. Foils of these you can get for $2.50, $3.
Yeah.
It goes on peaks and valleys. So maybe right now it actually might be at a peak. But I mean, at one point it spiked up to like 7 or 8, then it comes down. You know, somebody makes a deck and it goes up and down. But once this rotates out, I mean, this fits with tribal decks, and there's some pretty slick combos you can do with this guy.
Yeah, and it's way cheaper than the other ones.
This one's pretty... I want to use this card a lot more.
Hostage Taker, it exiles a creature, and then you can play that creature unless...
Or
Hostage
artifact.
Taker, or artifact. That's a good point. But this is solid removal. It's exile ability.
And you take it.
Is that a word? Exile ability?
Exile ability.
I'm going to use it from now on. But it's good card advantage, cheap. It's a body. I think it's really cool.
Yeah. Then the next one, Spell Swindle. Gosh, counter spells. But I do use this one if I am using a counter spell. It fits with the theme.
And you get as many treasure tokens as the spell you countered, the converted mana cost.
So you're getting a benefit out of it.
Yeah. I mean, it seems solid. Sunbird's Invocation. It's an enchantment. I think we used this as a spec probably not a year ago, but like 6-ish months ago. I used it foil ones of these guys, yeah.
Yeah,
and sitting at $1.50, this card is pure card advantage.
Yeah.
And I think this is going to go into a lot of red decks in the future.
I want to see this used more. I haven't been able to actually...
I had this in my Ramos deck, and it was nuts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You play a multicolored spell, put a couple counters on Ramos, and then play another card off of Sunbird's Invocation and put a couple more counters on a Ramos, remove the counters, and you just start doing it again. Yeah.
River's Rebuke, 4 and 2 blue, return all non-land permanents target player controls to their owner's hand. It's a sorcery, so you do this on your turn, somebody's being a dick, and you just go, hey, all your stuff goes to your hand except for your land.
You're able to get in that turn.
Bounce stuff is great.
Ranging Raptors. This is just a dinosaur that has Enrage. Whenever it's dealt damage, you get to put a basic land from your graveyard into play tapped.
Nope. Does deal that
or into
your library
from your library into the battlefield tapped. Did I say graveyard?
Yeah, you did.
Weird.
Dire Fleet. Did we say that one?
We didn't, but I do like it as it's a wizard, which is cool.
Whenever it enters the battlefield, each player loses a third of their life, rounded up.
So if you play this with like Panharmonicon, like boom, boom.
But you're also losing it too, which is the interesting part.
Who cares? It's your turn. Arugula's Bloodfest.
Arugula's. Is it out?
He's a leaf.
Argules.
Bloodfast. This is an enchantment that flips.
I'm just interested where you got... and I shouldn't be the one correcting you reading because I suck at reading, but I was like, where did the A come from? Arugula?
It looks like arugula. And so this is kind of a... You pay to draw, or like pay 2 life,
it's like
draw a
greed
card.
In a way.
But it's greed, but it's like cheaper to come out, but it costs more to draw the card and lose 2 life. And I use this in my Lucia deck, the lose life,
the vampire
gain life one. Yeah. Licia. But it's better than I anticipated. So sitting at like 35 cents right now.
And the flip foils of these are super cheap.
Yeah, the flip foils. There's also a FTV version of this as well.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
So, like, they really pushed this card a little bit to like be out there, but I think it's better than the price gives it credit for.
For sure. I mean, because its flip ability is then you have a sack outlet, sacrifice a creature and gain life to its toughness. I mean.
So the drawing part is Doran totally as well.
And the other part about it is the flipping it is kind of hard to do because you have to have 5 or less life. You don't want to be that low.
But it might save you.
Yeah, but you don't want to be that low.
No.
The next one would be Fleet Swallower. This is a good way to mill people. 5 and 2 blue fish. Whenever it attacks, target player puts the top half of their library rounded up into their graveyard. So... What is the one card? Is it the enchantment that for how many cards were put into the graveyard this turn or discarded, put that many? So it's be able to mill somebody completely out.
Oh, the curse?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could.
It's just attack. All right, you're dead.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about that. I just think this is a solid mill for...
Well, in general, yeah.
Yeah.
By itself.
So there's Captivating Crew, which you can pay 4 to steal target creature
on your turn.
Like, that feels like late game, you can steal a ton of creatures.
You can do it multiple times because it's not tapping the creature to do it.
Yeah, so, and if you have, like, if you're in a red-blue stealing deck, Training Grounds or Hearthstone, like anything that reduces activation costs, it makes this really, really crazy. And it's 25-cent card right now. Foils could be a good thing to look into. It seems really cool.
Same with Angrath's Marauders, 5 and 2 red. If a source you control will deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals double that damage to that permanent or player instead. So this is, you get a lot of those double damage effects, or especially early on, like Furnace Wrath, is that what that one's called? Where it's double all damage. It hurts you too. But this is nice that it only affects your opponents,
and it's only
from your source.
Yeah.
So it's not like what's her name?
It's not Gisela.
It's
a powered down Gisela though, so I think it has more potential than 25 cents.
Yeah, for sure. Well, again, those are foil cards I would go for.
And then the last one from Ixalan, we're going to talk about Sentinel Totem, and this is just a little bit of graveyard hate. When it comes into play, scry 1, then you can tap it, exile Sentinel Totem, exile all cards from all graveyards.
At the very least, you're scrying. You're paying 1 to scry. Then exiling the graveyards. I wouldn't put this in a deck that you're playing a lot from your graveyard because this will affect you as well.
Yeah. But when you're not playing a lot, this could be some really decent graveyard hate.
Yeah.
This next set, we're gonna go with Rivals of Ixalan, and we're gonna start off with Zakama. Now, we
both don't have this card.
Yeah, we both don't have it. I thought this one would go down, but people are they're kind of crazy about it. I think it's sitting about $15-$16 right now in Card Kingdom, and I don't see it going down. People love this deck, and he's able to
it stinks because what just happened is the new commander with eggs, it fits perfectly with the eggs commander.
Does it fit perfectly? I mean, it's the same colors.
Yeah, it's the same colors. That's the point of the deck that I'm going to be making with it. So I should know. No, I'm just kidding. But it's a big creature that you're going to cheat out by your eggs dying. You see what I'm saying? So you just get it without even having to cast it. Yeah, you miss out on the enters the battlefield if you cast it, untap all your lands. But you have the 3 abilities on it. Doing 3 damage to target creature, destroy target artifact or enchantment, or gaining 3 life.
Yeah, this does a lot.
And you have a Vigilance, Reach, Trample, 9/9. So
is that all?
Sucks. I'm gonna have to buy this card. And like you said, I was hoping it would go down as well. It hasn't, and I don't think. I think
it's only gone up. Yeah. And at this point, I think it might be at its peak, but it's not going down. I don't think.
Yeah.
So I think this is really, really popular. Twilight Prophet. This one is pretty cool.
Yeah, I do like this.
Has Ascend, and then at the beginning of your upkeep, if you have the Sitting's Blessing, reveal the top card of your library, put it into your hand. Each opponent loses X life, and you gain X life, where X is this card's converted mana cost.
Yeah, it's really good. And the thing about Ascend is with Commander, it's simple to get. So just assume that by the time you're playing this card, most likely you have the City's Blessing. So
this is another one that I wish had gone down. I was like, I can see this going down. Now I'm like, I'm an idiot.
Yeah. Well, because you're drawing 2 cards.
Yeah,
you're gaining life and making everybody lose life.
Like, this is doing so much.
That's for 4 mana. Yeah, it's
2/4 flyer.
That's nothing to write home at.
Seems.
I do that. Why did it say the stupid?
It's right to home.
I know. I said right home at. Even that saying is dumb.
Nobody writes.
I'm going to write home. Yeah, I'm going to email home. I'm going to text home about. When are you going to text home? Like, you're not texting your house. Like, you don't have. Who has home phone? Well, my wife's parents have home phones, which is really weird.
Because they're
old.
I didn't say that. You did. But they're old. Are we going with Immortal Sun?
You know you're old when your parents have... This is my redneck Jeff Foxworthy.
Immortal Sun.
I think you've taken all 3 of these. You've just taken over. Yes, go ahead, Larry. What is it? Immortal Sun.
You wanted this one.
Players can't activate Planeswalker loyalty abilities. At the beginning of your draw step, draw an additional card.
Probably good.
Spells you cast cost 1 less to cast.
Solidly.
And your creatures get 1/1. There's so much going on this card.
There's a lot going on. I don't know if I like it at 15. but it for sure like just has so much going on. It
I
might
can
just
see
be really
this
good.
going in a commander set at some point.
Really?
Well, because of there's so much going on with it. It covers its ground on everything. You got your...
It's like, we made a really bad deck. Let's put a card in there that'll boost its power because it has a lot of different things.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot going on.
I don't like
in
it at
this.
15 or like a price point. If I were to get into this one,
I'll get it around 10, which you got to go by Card Kingdom. Let me see.
Yeah. Card Kingdom's a little bit more expensive. I would probably start looking at it if I'm seeing it for like 7. Like,
well, let's check and see what it's at, Lowry. Oh, it still says it's 15, but it's been on the down. I'd say probably when it got around 10 is where I would probably pick it up, unless it starts going up.
It's something that I think is going to go down a little bit more. This is one that I would time out differently.
The next one I like, so I'm going to read one.
Yeah,
again.
I didn't have this on there,
Oh,
but it is really good.
Wayward Swordtooth, and we've talked about this one. Spec'd on this one. 2 and 1 green for a 5/5. It has Ascend. Again, like we said, most likely you're going to have the City's Blessing. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. So you always have that, but if you have Ascend, it can attack and block.
Yep. Solid card.
So we talk about how Oracle Moldiah is so good. This is not as good, but it's another tool for that.
Kind of right there. Tender Shit Dryad.
Tender shit?
Tender Shit.
You totally said it's a tender shit. It was nice. It just came out like ice cream.
I haven't had one of those for a while.
It's normally
Lots of protein and fiber right now.
lots of shaking when you're pushing it.
Oh, dropping bombs.
You ever have those, the wall pushers, where you have to push against the wall in front of you?
I wish there could be a closer wall in my bathroom. But this one puts out sapling tokens each upkeep, and then can give them +2/+2 if you have Ascend.
Yeah.
Like, this is just creating a ton of creatures
just like
for really cheap.
when this was made, it just killed Verdant Force.
Yeah, I remember Verdant Force,
was
a
amazing.
decade ago, just going, how do I keep up with all these creatures being made? Now you get to do it for 5 instead of 8.
And they're getting bonus 2/2, but
It's good.
One of my favorites, Atali Primal Storm. I've spec'd on this a while back for foils of these guys, and now would be a time to probably pick those up again. 4 and 2 red, and then whenever he attacks, exile the top card of each player's library. Then you may cast any number of non-land exiled this way without paying their mana cost.
This is pretty solid red draw, kind of, but along with just a huge beater.
Because it's not only just your opponents, it's hitting you too, so you're able to cast your stuff for free, which is freaking ridiculous.
You can do like 2 or 3 in a row.
No, that's
if you
all right.
want.
Go ahead.
All right. Alenda, the Dusk Rose. This one has lifelink. Whenever another creature dies, put a 1/1 counter on it. And then when it dies, you get to create a bunch of tokens, which are vampires, which is good for Edgar. Every vampire is good for Edgar, but this one creates a lot more. And so this seems just decently powerful. It's like $10. Again, this is something that I would
wait a little bit.
Yeah, I'd want to wait a little bit. My price point to get in, at least get one, is hopefully like 5 or 6.
Yeah. Next is Journey to Eternity. I have put this in a lot of my green-black creature decks because you put it on a creature. When it dies, return it to the battlefield under your control. Then this flips. Its flip ability is tap it for any color, or tap 3 into a green and a black and return target creature from your graveyard to the battlefield. So you have recursion with your creatures.
This is so like if you go like Sakura Tribuilder and then put this on there, sacrifice Sakura Tribuilder, put a basic land into play tapped.
Why not
Sakura
Solemn Simulacrum?
Well, you can't sacrifice Solemn.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
and so you're just able to have it happen, and then sacrifice Sakura again. You have the land that can bring it back from your graveyard until you just have so much advantage.
Well, and the other part of it is like, don't even have it for a sack thing. This is actually kind of a protection spell for something, because they know, all right, if I'm going to kill that creature, I got to kill it twice because it's going to come back. And then this is going to flip into something where they can bring back creatures from their graveyard. So it's like, oh, do I really want to do that? So it has some multiple effects to it that you can, in multiple situations, you can use that card.
World Shaper is pretty cool. Creature that whenever you attack, you mill the top 3. And then whenever it dies, you get to bring all lands from your graveyard into play tapped. And cards that have that kind of effect can be really, really strong.
Yeah. in a land,
especially a land matter. But I think this can go. But like, yeah, if you're
playing if you're playing fetches and you're evolving wilds, all your sacrifice land stuff, that's perfect in there.
Or Gitrog monster deck, or what's the green one? Whenever you have a land go into the graveyard from play, put a 5/3 elemental into play. Tatiana.
Oh yeah, Tatiova.
No,
Tatiova is the other one. Yeah,
Titania.
The green. Yeah. Next is Huatli. We really love this card.
Yeah.
Radiant Champion, 2 green and white. This is put a loyalty counter on it for each creature you control. You minus it, target creature gets X+X, where X is the number of creatures you control.
I don't even care about that part.
It's the ultimate. You get an emblem with whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may draw a card. Yeah. So it's not cast, it's whenever you can be a token deck. That's what it goes with.
Yeah, so you just play Huatli, and then you plus it so that it's over 8. Like, that's when you're making sure that you're playing Huatli and Radiant Champion, and then the next turn you make sure that you are, ultimating it and playing as many creatures as you can to draw a ton of cards. Like,
this makes it in my top 5. So that's
sitting at it's $5. This, I think, it's a solid time to buy. This card feels like it's going to be better.
One of your favorite commanders that you've made? Question mark.
Yeah, I mean, it really hits a lot of flavors for me. Cumena, Tyrant of Oraska. This is Merfolk Tribal all the way. You get to tap your creatures to draw a card or put 1/1 counters on it. So this is...
It can't be blocked. Like,
if you want, yeah.
You can go Voltron with it. Voltron?
And sitting at $5, I think it might be...
Did you do it that way? You didn't do it with commander damage with him, though.
No, it was just pure Merfolk Tribal. Draw cards.
Hadana's Climb. I like this card a lot because you're going to put it in a 1/1, like a token kind of deck. Generate
+1/+1 counter token.
So it's 3 to come out. You put a token at the beginning of your combat of your turn, put a 1/1 counter on target creature. Then if there's 3 or more, transform it. Its transformation gives you 1 color of any mana, or you tap 3 and tap it. Target creature you control gains flying, so you're giving it evasiveness, but then it gets X+X. Where X is its power.
You're making it like your commander a 1-shot or a 2-shot kill with it, but also like it doesn't have like it's going to be going in a lot of decks because they always are playing with +1/+1 counters, and so it fits in a bunch of different decks just purely that way. Mm-hmm. So, Storm the Vault, we've spec'd on this, talked about it a ton, but a year or so ago.
So, like we talked about with Itlamok, this is the Tellurium Academy.
Yeah, and this sitting at $229. This is nuts because whenever one or more creatures you control deals combat damage to a player, create a colorless treasure artifact token. And then at the beginning of your end step, if you control 5 or more artifacts, transform Storm the Vault.
So it doesn't have to be treasure tokens. It has to be 5 or more artifacts. And you're playing normally mono-ramp, mono-rock stuff. You want artifacts.
And the big thing that people might be missing this, but there are multiple players on the board. So if you're able to hit 3 people, you get 3 treasure tokens.
Yeah. But what you need to remember is... hitting somebody with 3 creatures still only gets you 1.
So
because it says whenever player. 1 or more creatures you control deals combat damage to a player. So you can hit different players, but if you hit the same person with 3 creatures, it's not giving you.
You only get 1. And that's the downfall, quote unquote. But if you're able to split that up and get your creatures through, you're creating 3 tokens. So if you have only 2 other artifacts in play, like a rock and something else, you're going to be able to flip that right away, and then it gives you as many blue mana as you have artifacts.
Yeah.
So, that card's crazy.
Well, I mean, that's banned in Commander because...
Tellurian Academy is, yeah.
So
Gaia's Cradle should be too. Wham.
What? No, it should not be banned. What? Oh, this?
Yeah.
Slaughter the Strong, 1 and 2 white. Each player chooses any number of creatures he controls with a total power 4 or less, then sacrifices all the other creature he or she controls. So if they don't have a creature that is 4 or less, if everything's 5 or higher, everything's gone.
But total power 4, this generally gets rid of everything but 1 or 2 creatures for 3 mana.
Yeah.
This is pretty powerful. And this goes in certain decks like Arcades and Doran, like those low power, high toughness like decks.
But like you said, it can be a potential board wipe for 3 in a way, almost board wipe. So if you're playing a deck that has, like you said, Doran or Arcades, but if you're generally your creatures are smaller, toughness or power, this is the deck that you want it to be in. This card is a card that was a surprise to us.
Yeah.
How good it is.
Nasal Primal Tide.
You're nasally.
Nazahal. Primal Tide. But this is just it's the blue Elder Dinosaur. Whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, draw a card, and then you can discard 3 cards, and then you can kind of blink it until end of turn.
It can't be countered. You have no maximum hand size. Yeah,
you're going to be drawing a bunch of cards in a multiplayer game. It's solid.
Yeah.
And $1.49. Another one is Arch of Oraska. Do you like this one at all?
That's all right.
It's if you have a send, you can pay 5, tap it, draw a card.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
For drawing 1 card.
But generally, like, it's colorless. It's kind of like that last thing. Like, there aren't a lot of lands that allow you to, like, just draw a card. Like, there's the one that has everybody draw a card, or everybody draws a card and discards a card, or you draw a card, discard a card in red and blue. This one is just purely, I'm going to draw a card because I need to. I can see this working in, like, blue decks that are Drago. Like, I don't have to use my counterspell this turn. I'm going to draw a card. But also, I just put it in decks where I just run out of steam and I need something to get me going. Like Naya.
Yeah, like late game is pretty good with this card, but it's just,
early,
it's a lot.
5 is a lot, yeah.
But at least it's giving you a mana if you, at the very least, can't, do the draw part.
And I think if you can find this for under $1, like, perfectly reasonable.
Maybe check out the foils of these guys, though.
Could be, yeah.
Because you might be right. I mean, playing it early, no one's going to even remember that you played it. And then later you're like, draw a card. Right before my turn, I'm drawing a card. Draw my card.
Seaborn Muse would be great with this, being able to untap all your lands, and if you don't have something to do with it, just draw a card.
Pitiless? Pitless Plunderer. Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers. The Plunderer.
Why can't you say this?
Plunderer. There we go. Plunderer.
Can you say the whole thing?
Pitless Plunderer.
Pitiless Plunderer.
Plunderer. You said it wrong, that second word, didn't you? Mm-hmm. Whatever.
Plunderer.
Say it all at one.
Pitiless Plunderer.
You said it wrong there.
No, I didn't. That was perfect.
This one's nice because whenever another creature you control dies, create a treasure token. It doesn't have to be a like a lot of times when you have that, whenever your creature dies, it's a non-token. And so this is giving you some treasure tokens in replace of your creatures dying. So there are some interesting things you can do with this guy.
Yeah, it's really cool. It creates a lot of treasure tokens.
Foil for sure on this guy, but I think the foils of him are a little more expensive.
Yeah, he's
because
kind
people
of
are using
kind
him.
of known thing, but now that cards are being dumped, it might go down. But this is something that'll for sure go up in the future. Be a couple buck card. Path of Discovery is an enchantment.
We've talked about this one a lot.
Yeah, we've spec'd on this one in the past. It's down, what is it at?
150. So foils, get those foils.
Yeah, whenever you have a land or whenever you have a creature come into play, it discovers. This gives you a lot of advantage in my mind for 4 mana.
It's a little weird, but we've kind of had this talk. Not actually, I don't think we've ever talked about it on the podcast, but cards that are permanents, I like more as foil. I like all foils, but more so even the ones that are permanents because they sit there. I remember we spent all those that when we were first figuring out how to make proxies.
Proxies.
And we made the foil fetch land. We spent so much time, and you're like, damn, I play this card and then I kick it into the graveyard right away, so I don't even see it at all.
Why would I get that in foil?
So ever since you've said that, it sticks in my head more where I have a bigger desire for cards. I don't.
Foils and permanents?
Yeah, if it's an instant foil, I'm like, I mean, I got that with Heroic Intervention, but you play it and it goes in your graveyard.
Yeah, but you get to look at it in your hand for so long.
But it's more of showing everybody else what you got. Yeah. So it's... Anyways, that was just a side note. Okay, next one, Direfleet Daredevil. This is an interesting thing for red. I think this has potential, and at the price it's at right now, definitely jump in on this. But it's
under $1, you should be able to find
it's
that
your
easy.
Snapcaster for red in a way, but it comes in, it's 2 mana, first strike. When it enters the battlefield, exile target instant or sorcery from an opponent's graveyard. You have to cast it that turn if you want to use it, and then you can use mana of any color to cast it, and then it's exiled at the end of turn. So
I think that's a really good comparison when you're going it's a Snapcaster for red. That tells you how shitty they hate red compared to blue. Like, they are so biased. Azor, the Lawbringer. I haven't had the balls to play with this anywhere.
Because it's a lot of
mana. Yeah.
I mean, it's 6, but it's 2 blue, 2 white, 2 colors. I guess.
Yeah.
If that's your.
But it is a legend, and then whenever Azor attacks, you may pay X white, blue, blue. If you do, gain that amount of life and draw that many cards. That's the big thing. It's a Sphinx's Revelation. Whenever you attack, this feels like it could be really powerful. But again, I haven't had the balls to play it, and it's sitting. You could probably find it for under $2 right now. It's a mythic. I don't think that's a bad price point to at least pick up 1 or 2.
Radiant Destiny, 2 and a white. Oh, I didn't like this one.
You didn't. I don't like this one.
I don't like this one.
Gives +1/+1 to whatever creature type you like. So this is
and potentially Vigilance. So you're tapping 3 to give you
+1/+1 and Vigilance.
That seems shitty.
That's not shitty. Vigilance is awesome. It's so vanilla.
Ugh.
That was 2 weeks ago.
Vana's Hunger, 2 and a black. Has Ascend. Each opponent sacrifices a creature. If you have the City's Blessing instead, each opponent sacrifices half the creatures he or she controls, rounded up.
That seems really powerful for like 30 cents, right?
For sure. Well, go for foil.
Go for foil. Yeah, that's what I would look into. And then the last one is Seafloor Oracle. This is whenever you have a Merfolk deal damage to an opponent, you get to draw a card. And so this could be Merfolk Tribal. People love Merfolk. That's fine. It's cool, but it seems solid. So,
all right. Then we move into Dominaria. This one has quite a bit here because it's a really good set. So we're going to try to whittle it down a little bit. But my number 1 and 2 card right here would be Helm of the Host. I have this in so many decks right now.
Yeah, and it does seem really powerful. Just there's a reason why you're playing your commander if you can get 2 or 3 or 4 of them
and not have a downside of having to sacrifice any of them.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Right? So this goes in. This is probably 1 for me, and then the Itlimoc is number 2 because it's an artifact, so it can go in every single commander deck.
Yeah, I can see this being reprinted though, more likely than.
And actually, good point you say that. I would say go for the foils in these. Yeah, they're a little more expensive right now. I think they're around probably $10. Let me check. 14. I would definitely. I mean, I was picking mine up here, but I would still go after these. $14 for those guys at foil. If they get reprinted, it'd probably be commander set because it fits with your commander. But so then you're thinking if it gets printed in a commander set, they're not going to print foils, so your foils will be safe. Actually, then it would make your foil prices go up even more. So even though it's a $14 foil, this is the most popular card on Card Kingdom for Dominaria.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense. Teferi, hero of Dominaria. Everybody kind of knows this card. It's crazy good. It's $20 right now. It's played in Legacy, a lot of Modern. I think this can be really powerful in Commander.
I don't think you would go deep on this like you would with Helm of the Host. I would think it's the opposite. This is more of get it in your toolbox.
Get it in your toolbox for $20. It might go down a little bit more as well.
But it's a good card to have for your decks. So I would definitely get that. I like this one more than Lowry does because I think this has potential. Just no one's broke it yet. Mox Amber. It just add 1 color of any color among legendary creatures and or planeswalkers you control. Yeah, you want this to come out and you're able to cast your planeswalker, but you can't do it unless you have a legendary out. But that's only for early game if you're trying to do that. I just think that this card has huge potential and no one's found a way to break it yet. And the thing is you're playing a legendary creature or planeswalker, depending on if you're playing Oathbreaker or whatever. So this has use in both of those formats.
That's true.
So I like it. You can get these. I think they're still they're under $10 right now. And if you look at any other Moxes, what's the other dud? Oh, the new Mox.
Mox Tantalite.
Yeah, but that hasn't had enough time to breathe. I still don't think... I think that one's probably the worst one out of them all.
Maybe. Probably.
One of your favorite commanders.
Muldrotha is bonkers, the Gravetide. It's sitting at about $8. That's what I got right when the set came out fresh, because I was like, I need it for the spotlight that I'm doing. And it dropped, and I was like, shit. Because I bought one, traded for one, and one came to me on Card Store all within like 2 days. And I was like, all right, whatever. I wasted a little bit of money.
But this is one of the most played commanders.
Yeah, this card's going to go up. I'm like, hey, I don't think I did the bad thing at this point, because I have 2 extras that I'm just like,
well, I'll sit on
these for a little bit.
I need one.
Oh, wow.
You're not going to trade it to me?
Nope.
Next is Gilded Lotus. This reprint was perfect in this. This is as low as you're going to see these cards.
Yeah,
and
it's a staple.
Yeah.
Get them. They're $5. They were way more than that before this. Karn Scion of Urza. There's a Planeswalker for 4 mana. And I think the big thing is you can just -2 it to create a colorless construct that'll get you... It gets +1/+1 for each artifact you control. But also it's a bit of like card advantage as well.
Yeah, because the +1 you're getting 2 to look at 2 cards. They get to choose one goes into the whatever.
And then you can -1 to put a card in your hand. So
you're at least getting a card out of it.
You're kind of like drawing cards along with creating tokens. It
Yeah.
doesn't really have an ultimate. It's really good.
And it's not that expensive right now for... It could go in any deck pretty much.
Yeah,
you know?
it's colorless, so it can go in a lot of decks where you like... I would like more card advantage, and that'd be right up your alley. Yeah.
Next is Cabal Stronghold. I think we kind of shit on this one when the set kind of came out, if I remember correctly. It's a weaker of... what is it? What's the card that's just like this? Cabal... Coffers? Yeah. So it's the cheaper version of this, but I think this has potential to go up, actually, and then... Again... You got to reference other podcasts. If they're calling it out, they can have a drive for it. And there's a lot of specs with this one, people picking this card because Cabal Coffers is so damn expensive.
I don't know, man. This card is... It seems like so much work. I can't see the ceiling. I don't know. Card Kingdom has it at like $2-ish right now. I don't know. I wouldn't... I have one mono black deck... And it's in there.
I don't have a single one.
Yeah, but it's like if you're playing mono black and you
2 colors,
you end up
maybe.
No way.
You don't think so?
No.
Oh, I guess you're paying 3. Yeah, it has to
depends
be
on. I guess it depends on how many basic swamps, because that's the important part. It has to be basic swamp,
not just swamp.
Cabal Coffers is any swamp.
Mm-hmm.
This is basic swamp. So if you're playing a shit ton of basics, and that's where mono colored comes into play, sure, I agree with that, because my rule generally is I want at least 12.
What if you're playing basic islands and basic whatever, and then you change them to swamps because they're still basic with Urborg?
Can you name an instance of a card where you would be able to do that?
No, I'm just saying Urborg, the land that changes all your lands to swamps.
No, because it doesn't. They're still swamps.
Basic is in the name.
I don't think that's how that works.
It says basic. It's basic island swamp.
You're basic. I don't think that's how that works.
It might be. We'll get a text from Adam number 2 later. I'm like,
I don't think so.
I don't know. I was just trying to stretch it.
Yeah. Obviously.
I think it's okay. I won't play it because it does go more into a basic or a 1-color deck.
Yeah.
2 colors at the max.
So I don't think, if you have a mono black deck, I think this goes in there.
But who makes mono?
I mean, Sam Darnold.
Say kissing disease.
Yeah. Silly.
All right. Next one.
Shalai, Voice of Plenty. Gives you and other creatures you control hexproof, and then you can pay
Planeswalkers
6.
too.
And Planeswalkers. But you can pay 6 to put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. Is a 3/4 flyer angel. It's a legend, so it has the potential to be really good as a commander, but also it's just really, really good utility within like in your token decks or just any deck. I mean, any green-white deck, this is great.
And then next is a card that from the early on
this
podcast.
was our first troll.
Yeah, this was the first person that got. So I said, Joria, Weatherlight Captain. It is whenever you cast a historic spell, draw a card. I was like, this card's whatever. Because I wasn't thinking more combos. I was just you're just drawing cards. I was like, I don't want this as your commander. It's so basic to all you're doing is casting artifacts and whatever and drawing cards. But then we got was it YouTube or was it?
Yeah, it was YouTube.
He was like, you're stupid. This is the best card.
This goes
you
off.
You can.
And honestly, I haven't seen anybody combo off with it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, because I haven't seen anybody have this as their commander.
Yeah. Number 2 had it.
Oh, did he?
He played it
of
over at your place one time. But I killed Joyra all the time. But the thing is like,
it's a good card.
I do want to bring up, like, we've had a lot of really, really positive interactions with everybody, but we for sure remember the asshole. The one person.
Well, it was the very beginning. It was our first comment. Like, no one was. We didn't have comments. We were just like watching the numbers, and we're like, "Hey,
we got like
this
a
month we got this amount of people
fuck.
listening, and this amount of people listening." And then our first comment was, "You guys are dumb."
So, but it is really true. Like, I think the whole mindset of you pick up on the negative so much more than the positive. And
you shouldn't say that, Larry, because now they're going to start. They're like, oh, they're going to remember my comment.
Super, really positive, and we appreciate everybody out there
for sure. That's been one of the highlights of everything of the comments that we get from all you guys.
Yeah,
so.
People being nice is nice.
Yeah. So we do remember those too, because actually we talk about them like, oh, this person. I'll even say to my wife, I'm like, oh, listen to this comment and listen to this, and you guys are awesome.
Karn's Temporal Sundering. If you have your commander out, you get to take an extra turn and bounce a permanent.
You don't have to have just your commander, but legendary any
permanent.
legendary.
But this card seems solid. Sitting at $1. Extra turn cards tend to be more.
Yeah,
that's
do.
what I would just say. And this bouncing a permanent.
I bet you the foils of these would get really low. So I'd even though I was just saying, don't do the ones that go to your graveyard right away. This one you could do.
Well, we're speccing, which is different than playing with.
But yeah, I wouldn't play with this one as much unless it fit with the theme of what I was doing, because there's so much better extra turn stuff to have
There's a lot of them, but I think having. People like to take extra turns because they're dickheads. So people tend to always like, I don't want to pay $5 or $10 for this extra turn when I can buy Karn's Temporal Sundering for $1 or $2.
Correct.
And so that slowly rises the price on something. Yeah. This isn't something that's going to spike, but I can see this ending up $4 or $5 easy.
Mm-hmm. Multani Yavamaya's Avatar. This one's just kind of a sweet card because it matters with your land. It's as strong for each land you control in play and in your graveyard, actually, and then you can tap 2 and return 2 lands from their owner's hand, or you control it to their owner's hand, and you can return it from your graveyard to your hand. So there's a way to keep bringing it back.
Sitting about $250, and so it feels like it could be really powerful.
One of my this is in my top 5, so this leads out my 5s. Because I
haven't been really.
I think this is my 5th one, so this is in there for top 5. Adam's top 5.
Tatyova, Benthic Druid. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, gain a life and draw a card.
It's just so ridiculous. It's better than
a lot of landfall
Joria,
cards.
like what I just read just a second ago. Because you're playing land. I mean, and you're drawing a card from it, and
if you're not breaking Joira,
Okay, let's get our next YouTube comment. That's stupid. You can do this with Joria. You can combo this. You can't do that with Tatyova. Yeah, you can. Skip shift, you little bastard.
You're turning into a South Park character at this point.
But the foils on these, and this is, I can tell this is one of the better cards, is it's a uncommon, but the foils are, I think they already spiked. After I picked it as a spec, it wasn't because I picked it as a spec, but shortly after.
No, we know how to get people to, we can move stuff.
Yeah, right. But it spiked up to, what is Tatyova now? I think it was like $10. Yeah. So it spiked quickly to 20, and now it's at 10. I would definitely wait till this price comes down maybe a little bit, but pick up the foils if you can on that, because there's so much. That set was open quite a bit, so your uncommons, there's a lot more of those out there.
Yep.
Jaya,
did you want to do Jaya?
No, that's your favorite card.
Fuck you. if you remember the Mythic Edition conversation, I was adamantly against Jaya. So
I think that was it for this. Oh, no.
There's a couple more, but
I like Tetsuko Yumazawa Fugitive, and this just makes it so your creatures you control with power or toughness 1 or less can't be blocked.
Yeah, and it fits in like Edric, your wall, your
Arcades.
doesn't go in Dorn, but everything should go in Dorn. A couple other cards just because they're spread out, like Danitha Caption. She reduces enchantment spells by 1, or as an equipment actually. And that seems it's super cheap. I'd look into foils, like Adam was saying. A couple others, Grand Warlord Rada, which is whenever you have a creature attack, you get a green or red into your mana pool, which is sweet. Ansera's Wings is an aura that gives +1/+1 vigilance flying. It seems like a really solid aura. And then there's also Nabin, Dean of Iteration, which is the wizard Panharmonicon. There's Torgar that puts somebody's life total, when it comes into play, puts somebody's life total to half the starting life total.
So if you're lower on life, you could bring your life up to 20. If you're hitting somebody that gained a shit ton of life, you can bring them down to 20.
Yeah, somebody, if you have that player that's like, I'm at 120 life, you're like, Torgar, you're at 20.
Yeah.
And make sure that you kill him before he can gain too much more life. So, like, that seems like, it's in that realm of, like, Soren Markov, where it comes into play, puts somebody's life total to 10.
A little less dickish, because Sora, and you're like, shit, I'm at 10. Like, that's so low. But this is nice because it
puts it to 20. But yeah, again, it can get you out of that range as well. You can look at it like a life gain spell. So, and then was there anything else? One that we didn't talk about, but Wrath Caption gives your historic spells flash, blue-white. Seems kind of cool. Gonna move on to the core set 2019.
So first couple, Crucible, World, Scape Shift. Those are, Scape Shift, what did it get up to before the reprint? It was in the...
It was a $40, $50 card.
Right now, it's already been spiking. It's been,
I picked mine up at 7.
Yeah.
So, and they're at 14, 15. It's like...
And Crucible was at $60, $70 before the reprint.
Yep.
So pick up those. Those are $20, $14 respectively.
Yeah.
One card you just got in the mail 2 weeks ago.
Card Sphere, people are dumping it. Nicol Bolas, the Ravager.
I want this card. I don't have it.
Yeah, so when it comes into play, each opponent discards a card, and then you can flip it into a Planeswalker, which does a bunch of different stuff. Seems cool, but sitting at $10, it might be a little high, but I think it's pretty unique and pretty cool.
Yeah, you could probably wait a little bit on that to drop a little bit.
Yeah, but it was a $30 card while it was in standard, so it might just be that good.
Reliquary Tower is cheap because it gets used in every drawing commander deck.
This was under $1, 6 months ago.
Yeah. And
now it's already up to $2. I can see this going to 4 or 5, and then they'll reprint it again.
Yeah.
But everybody has these, so it's always going to recover. It's not going to go nuts. And the more they reprint it, the harder it's going to.
It's more of a double your profit kind of thing, but your profit isn't that big. It's like I spent $10 to buy.
It's something that I trade though, because I just find them and
that's
they're
a good
easy.
Point. Trading is a good point to get there. It's kind of like Soul Rings to be able to trade those away.
Yeah. Yep. Just trying to help people out.
And then we got Omniscience.
Omniscience.
We all know what this card does, but before the reprint, it was up there, wasn't it?
$20-$30.
Yeah, so this is just you can cast cards from your hand without paying their mana costs.
Tezzeret, Artificer Master, sitting about $6. It's pretty cool for artifact decks. I'm not going to read any of the what it does, but I think that's probably low. I can see it going up to $10.
Yeah, for sure. Arcades, great for wall decks. This is your commander for wall decks. Sure. Even though they just printed their first legendary commander wall, this is your deck for that.
For walls,
yeah. This card I love a lot.
Vivian Reed, sitting at $5. It's
That's
Planeswalker,
really low for this.
And it has a ton of utility in green. It just destroys artifact, enchantment, a creature with flying, or
like
it finds
I've mentioned
you a creature
before,
card.
that's your way of removal, but then you also are drawing cards, looking at top 4, put a creature in your hand. Like,
so it has a ton of utility. I need to get one.
Yeah,
we'll say that.
It's a ridiculous card, and I mean its ultimate isn't crazy, but it's good. 2+2, trample, vigilance, and indestructible. Like,
good enough.
Pretty good.
I think Death Baron is a solid pickup at 2.
I mean, yeah, it was like a $10 card before.
It was 20 actually.
Was it?
Yeah,
I had 4 of those.
Maybe it was 10, but yeah, that card is good. It's going to go into your zombie decks.
They got Cleansing Nova. This is around $150 probably. Destroy all creatures or destroy all artifacts, enchantments. So, and depending on how the game's going, it's
like a really cheap estuary command.
Yeah.
Do you know what that?
The white one.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Auster.
You can do the 3 or higher, or 3 or less power.
All enchantments or all artifacts. So this takes more of the choices out, but it's kind of what you were doing anyway.
Yeah.
With the command, so I think this $1 that card's been up to $10 again.
Yeah.
So
it's a good card. You want
Sai, Master Thopterus. Whenever you cast an artifact spell, put a 1/1 colorless Thopter into play. Sitting at like $150. I think it's a solid artifact card, or just a great commander in general.
Runic Amissar. This is one that I picked a while back, but whenever
I think
an opponent
kind of spec on it a little bit.
Activates an ability of a creature or a land that isn't a mana ability, you may draw a card. I just don't. I like it, but then you got to think of like how many people are playing a lot of land stuff that aren't mana abilities. I mean, there are a lot. That's what we do. We try to use the utility of the land.
Because it has to be a creature, though. Activated abilities of a creature.
Of a creature or a land that isn't mana
or
ability.
A land that, okay, yeah.
So you have targets if you have 4 people. I mean, I think this surprisingly will draw you cards and you don't realize it, but the foils of these are what I would go for.
I guess you get to like draw a card off of somebody else fetching.
Mm-hmm.
That's
a good point.
Yeah.
At $1 for non-foils, but foils I think were right around that same price. I don't know if it's really changed since then.
Dragon's Horde. I think this is going to end up going into... It's basically a 3-mana rock that can draw you cards in a dragon deck. And so sitting at $1, I can see it going up, but I can also see it being reprinted, so maybe look into the foils there.
For sure. Then we get Goreclaw, Terror of Kalsisma. Creature spells you cast with 4 or greater cost 2 less. Whenever it attacks each creature you control of 4 or greater, gets 1/1 and gains trample. Good way to give your stuff trample.
Yeah, so it's cost reduction and it's a buff to your bigger creatures.
And it's a bear.
And it's a buck.
And it's a bear.
But it's not going to help in your bear deck. Psychic Corrosion. Whenever you draw a card, each opponent puts the top 2 cards of the library into their graveyard.
So this is a good way to mass mill somebody. That if you, let's say you're using, Pull from Tomorrow, where you're able to draw X cards, draw 10 cards, everybody mills 20 cards.
Or Windfall, or it just seems there's a lot of mass draw. This one I think is cool. Liliana, Untouched by Death. It's sitting at like $250 right now. The main thing is you get to combo it. It's a super zombie planeswalker, but you may cast zombie cards from your graveyard this turn. It's a -3, and with Rooftop Storm, you get to bring all of your zombies back into play. Seems like a really cool combo that you're playing both of them in your deck anyway.
Remorseful Cleric, flying. It has sacrifice, exile all cards from target player's graveyard. It's a good graveyard removal. This is under $1 for non-foils. So you probably get foils for a little around that price as well.
The last couple I'll probably just name. Detection Tower was a land. That's right there, yeah. You get to pay 1, tap it, until end of turn, your opponents and creatures your opponents control with hexproof can be the target of spells and abilities you control as though they didn't have hexproof.
You draw a card off of Runic Amissar.
You're just convincing me of it. Yeah. But this is a 50-cent card, super cheap, and this is going to, get rid of the Swiftfoot boots. It's not quite as good as the Arcane Lighthouse.
Yeah, but having both of these in your deck is pretty good.
If you're having one, you kind of want the other.
And a lot of times I try to put these in there. If you're looking for spot removal and stuff like that, you want a way to get rid of people's Swiftfoot boots or their Lightning Greaves. Mm-hmm. So this is having that ability.
Yeah, this doesn't get rid of the Greaves, but the Arcane Lighthouse does.
Oh yeah, because it doesn't have. It just removes the hexproof, not the.
So, Another one is going to end up being Goblin Trashmaster. This was it's a 3/3 goblin that gives other goblins +1/+1, but you can sacrifice a goblin to destroy target artifact. I think this is just goes in every goblin deck basically.
Goblin.
Gobbo. And then Desecrated Tomb seems kind of cool, which is, and whenever a creature leaves your battlefield, one or more leave your fucking graveyard,
you get to put a 1/1
bat into play. So if you have something that slowly removes creatures from your graveyard, because if it's one or more, you just get one. So if you remove all your exile at one time, it's only one.
But if you're removing it, it's not saying that you're exiling it, right? You could be bringing it into play.
Reanimation will get you one.
So any of like the Gravedigger, whatever that one dude, not the Gravedigger, but
Reassembling Skeleton.
Yeah, any of those that you're casting from your graveyard.
Having come back or forth can get you a bunch of creatures to be able to sacrifice again and stuff like that.
And it's pretty cheap. That one, I think we looked at foils 20, were like 50 cents for 50 foils.
Cents. Yeah, so check out the foils. That's kind of the list. Where are we at?
How long are we at for that list? Cards. An hour and 15.
Yeah, and last week we did cards with all the new cards from the Throne of Eldraine.
Way to backshadow that with what
backshadow.
if we didn't?
Backshadow. Are we going to do a ANL segment?
So, hashtag ANL questions. ANL questions.
Gross.
You can go on Twitter and you can put the hashtag ANLQuestions.
And this one is coming from Adam.
From me. Yeah, because we had to double cast and then we didn't.
We kind of messed it up.
We read both of our questions on the first week. So, my question for both of us, and mainly for you to start off.
Which is probably geared more towards me.
No, it's what was your favorite video game, like nostalgic video game you played as a kid?
That's a really good question.
So you could do system and game. Like what memory do you have best of video games?
So the sad thing is...
It could be multiples if you want.
I would for sure say like... I was a Sega kid growing up.
Yep, you were Sega. Because whenever we came to your house, I remember playing Lion King.
I had Sega Genesis, moving into a Sega Saturn, moving into a Sega Dreamcast.
And see, we were a Nintendo family. So my Sega stuff was either playing with you guys or my best friend at the time, Julian. He had Sega, so that was my only Sega stuff.
And so I really liked, like with the Dreamcast, you had like NFL 2K. That was such an amazing game at that point.
Boring. I'm just kidding.
You're just saying sports games in general?
I didn't ever play any football sports games. Like the only games like that I played that were sports wise was I remember Give and Go, which was a basketball game. Because
I don't remember
if you got it like the dunk right, it's called Give and Go. If you did a pass and then whatever,
so it was like a bad NBA
you could set
jam.
up like a dunk, but it'd do slow motion and it would zoom in on your guy, and you'd be like dunking from like the 3-point line. It was so freaking awesome.
It was a bad NBA jam.
And so like I'd be playing with my other buddy Tony, and when it was happening, we'd all go, "Oh!" like just freak out. It was stupid. But anyways, football wise,
that was a really good game that I enjoyed. What
about Mortal Kombat? I remember playing Mortal Kombat at your house.
That was not my house.
Oh, maybe it was when we finally got a Sega.
Yeah, I don't think we were allowed that one. I did. You guys played Street Fighter. I remember playing Street Fighter over at your house a ton.
So I have the nostalgic one is the very first game that I got for Super Nintendo was Zelda, and I was super disappointed because I wanted Street Fighter, and my mom's like, "Oh, I went to the store and the guy said that this is the hit game," and I was like, God, I didn't want this game. So Mom, why'd you give me this stupid game? And so I remember starting to play it, and I got stuck like in the first 5 minutes of the game. I couldn't figure out how to do it, but then there was like a bush that I was supposed to cut down, and then it had a secret passage. And then that's when I got with the idea. Like, it was the first puzzle game that I played. Like, really like a puzzle. You had Mario, where it was jumping along and whatever, or fighting games.
Pretty straightforward, though.
Yeah, but like, have this open world that you're trying to figure out puzzles. Oh, it turned into the best game that I can remember. That like that's my very favorite game. I've gone back, not recently, but like 10 years ago, game? And I played that again. It wasn't from Nintendo. It was Super Nintendo. Okay.
Yeah. And I was just gonna say, I'm pretty sure that I borrowed the 64 Zeldas from you.
Yeah.
And those
are amazing too. Yeah,
games.
Majora's Mask and all that stuff.
Arcania of Time was the one that I remember playing forever and just loving it. And doing
but it was
over and over.
was Zelda Up Link to the Past is I think the Super Nintendo one. I think that's the one I got right, but it's the Super Nintendo one funny thing about that story with the Zelda, I was probably 3/4 of the way through the game, and I had an account and Nick had an account, and then we had like this.
Your brother.
Yeah, my brother Nick had an account, and then we had like, because you only could have 3 games saved one time. And of course, Nick never played. He always watched me play because I was the bigger brother. Such a douche. And so one day I was trying to like make room because we had the test account, or I don't remember why I was doing it, but I was deleting an account, and I deleted my account.
Oh.
And Nick even remembers this to the day. Like, I started like yelling at Nick, and I was like, "What'd you do? We deleted the account." And he started crying, and we both were crying, like, because there was nothing you could do. And Nick to this day is like, "I remember that you yelled at me, and we both were crying because you deleted the account." Oh, it was bad.
Children. Yeah. They're so stupid.
But yeah, I'd have to say that was mine. Street Fighter, and then GoldenEye was like my first like multiplayer.
I hate GoldenEye.
When everybody was playing together. Me, my brother, my best friend Tony at the time, and then his buddy, or Nick's best friend Will, all playing that game until like 3:00 in the morning.
Yeah, my problem with GoldenEye is because I didn't own it. So whenever I went over to somebody's place and they're like, "We gotta fucking play GoldenEye," I was like, "Yeah, cool." I just fucking die, because they knew everywhere. They could just look over at my screen, know where I'm at, come by and kill me. And I'm like, this sucks. Yeah. And instead of like going out and buying the game and becoming better, like the thing that we always did was like, so me and my Grant would, or my brother, me and my brother Grant, we would save up money and buy the console together and a couple of games that we look cool, like for us. And then we never got games after like the first like 3 months.
So that was the only games that you had.
Those were the only games we would play. Unless,
so you guys were awesome at those games.
I don't even know about that. But like it just, we never got anything beyond that. We never got gifts as like birthdays or Christmas or anything like that. So like our collections are fairly small. And then the next console would come out and be like, "We're fucking getting that." Save up for that.
Get the 3 games.
Get the 3-4 games, and then
nothing. And
so that's why I don't play video games anymore, because that's kind of how.
You remember the one night that we stayed up all night?
No,
and we played WWE versus NWO in the basement.
That's another one.
Was that the same night that Grant puked?
Yeah.
And my dad's car was driving him home because we didn't sleep that night. He ended up
No, that's a different night. So that one, WCW was at your mom's house.
WCW versus
Nitro,
NWO.
or like,
that was awesome.
That was
Royal
at your mom's
Rumble
house.
stuff.
Yeah, that was the morning where we walked out and there was like 2-3 wolf spiders in the living room where we were just sleeping. Oh, yeah. And then your dog came along and killed them.
Yeah, it
was like mop, mop,
if you want to look at wolf spider, they got to the size of like tea plates. Like they're they're
bigger than a hockey puck.
6 inches across, like furry, like looking like skinny, like tarantulas. That
it was like we had all gotten up, went to go get breakfast, came back, and we're like, "What the fuck?" Start freaking out. But no, the one where Grant puked was at your dad's house that night.
Yeah,
we stayed up. We watched you play Silent Hill.
Yeah,
at 3 in the morning.
You guys watched me play.
Yeah, and then I think I went over. We were playing like Cruising USA that night for the Nintendo 64, that racing game that had flipping and shit. That was a good night.
That's how we did it, because we didn't like spend the night very often, but when we did, we stayed up until like basically the sun was coming up.
Yeah, they'd be, "Guys, go to bed."
Like, we are.
I can hear you. No.
That's just Larry's talking in his sleep again. All right, so your nostalgic game.
Just going, the other one for the Nintendo? Did you ever play Blades of Glory or Blades of Steel?
I was gonna say Blades of Glory is the Will Ferrell.
Yeah, Blades of Steel. It's a hockey game.
No, I did play one hockey game, but it wasn't that.
Blades of Steel was fantastic.
Could you fight in that game?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It was so fun. And for some reason I never got into hockey. That's the only thing I've ever done with hockey, and it was a ton of fun.
Yeah, there was one game I played for hockey, and Give and Go was the only game I played for basketball. I did play Madden. I remember because I was like, everybody's playing Madden, I should try to play Madden. I just never liked it, because
I can see that, yeah.
Because I never played football. Like I was a soccer player. Oh, this kid's going to be a soccer player.
And I enjoyed Madden NCAA. Sonic for the Dreamcast.
Sonic, I remember that at your house.
But Sonic on the Dreamcast was so fun.
And Cindy had a Sega, and when we've played now, like when we played Sonic on something, I think it was like on one of the systems I had. I think it was on maybe, I don't know. That's like the only game she beats me in. So she really loves it because she had it growing up. I'm like, this sucks. I don't like this game. She's like, this is awesome.
Another Sega game. If anybody out there remembers Sega Genesis Biohazard Battles. Do you remember this game at all?
I don't.
I don't think we let anybody else play with us, but me and my Grant, we would play this game. It's 2D, like airplane, like it's like the airplane side shooter where you like go through kind of like Mario style, but you're in spaceships basically, and you're on an alien world attacking aliens. It was so much fun. So if anybody remembers Biohazard Battle out there, or if it's by a different name, that's what I remember it as.
What about, I thought you played with me with Twisted Metal. Didn't we play Twisted Metal together? Was that with you? Do you remember that? With the clown car?
That's like on the PlayStation, right?
Yeah, and you're trying to shoot.
We did do that. I think I had it, but I got it late in the cycle, like as the PS2 came out, I think.
Twisted. I remember playing that with you for some reason. And then, of course, Mario Kart, that game we played the crap out of.
Oh, man. Mario Kart in college was amazing.
Mario Kart is awesome.
Me and my buddy Matt and Jerome and Morgan.
Which one were you playing? The N64 version?
No, the GameCube.
GameCube. So,
yeah, for sure the GameCube.
I've gone through I think I've missed one cycle of Mario Kart because I didn't, I've gone through a video game lacking.
I see. This was a really good question because Guitar Hero I've brought up a ton of times. I loved that game for like 3 years.
Which game?
Guitar Hero.
Oh yeah.
Like why didn't I straight up say that?
Of course, that would be yours because Lowry and Jake, our cousin Jake, we've talked about. Those two were freaking amazing at it. Like to the point where this is college, right? Yeah, this is college.
It was a little bit after college, but
no, I was still in college.
During and a little bit after.
You must have been graduated. You graduated faster than I did. But yeah, because I remember being like, "Oh, you got to watch Lowry and Jake do this," because you guys would come up to St. Cloud and we had Rock Band. I remember you didn't like Rock Band as much because it was different from
boring. It was so much easier. It was boring.
No, it was. Yeah. But then the cool thing about Rock Band is you had somebody singing, you had drums, and it was pretty sweet. But yeah, you and Jake. I think Jake would even go over to your house and you guys would play
just jam together. You would pass back and forth.
Jam on like how a real guitar session. You guys would play something that's on the screen.
Click, 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 and then hand it. The only other thing that I would want to say is like Halo something or other. It had the very similar effect of GoldenEye for me. So, but the cool thing, I went to Augsburg College, and you were able to hook up your like Xbox to like an Ethernet or some shit, and so you were able to play like a 4-person, and then 4 people in another room could play, and so we had like 16 people on a play. So I was playing with my roommate Matt.
Halo was the big thing,
and that was so big my senior year, and like it was a lot of fun. I was shitty, but we had one time where we recorded one of the guys that was really good, but then everybody fucking picked on him, and so you could see him just going crazy, and we would just sit there and laugh.
Well, so the funny thing with that is before like internet was really big,
because
the quality of how you could play together was tough to be able to do that. So Jake's dad's best friend, his garage, they got two big screen TVs, and you faced them back to back, and then they had 2 systems, and we'd play 4-on-4, 8-on-8.
I did that one time.
Yeah, it was so much fun to do that.
It was fun and really cool one time, but he was so good that I was like, this sucks.
Yeah, but it was fun because the problem with those kind of games is if you're playing against people and they're looking at the same screen, like you said with
they can just look down and see where you're at.
Oh, yeah, I know where you are, especially if somebody's really good and knows the maps. I would say one last thing with the video games thing. My all-time favorite video game, not nostalgic necessarily, is Diablo 2 Lord of Destruction. That game I have played, quit, because I'd get to what I wanted to get in the game, and then I'd quit. I even had it in college where, we had it my freshman year of college. There was 10 guys on our floor that all played that game. So we'd all like go and do dungeon crawls and get stuff. But then we got to a point where
you could drink and you went and did pub crawls.
I did, yeah. I had bots running it. So at night I'd go to sleep and the game would go and do, they call them Mephisto runs. So it would go in, go through, kill the boss on that level, and it knew the code of what drops were good, and it would pick those up, and then if there wasn't anything good, it'd quit the game, start over. And so I'd wake up in the morning, and this is when eBay was really starting to kick in. I'd take those and I'd sell those digitally on eBay before people really were doing that. And so I made, as a poor college student that you're only buying booze and stuff with, I made my booze money by selling Diablo items. But
that's pretty cool.
Diablo 3 came out. It was not as good. It was still a fun game. I put like 500-600 hours into it, but I would say with Diablo 2, man, I put thousands of hours into that game.
That's a lot.
But yeah, so that's my favorite game of all time.
And I would say Guitar Hero for me. Now, see, it took us a 10-15 minute discussion to figure out what our favorite games were.
Well, because how I worded the question was nostalgic. So we worked our way up to kind of your present. That's the last video game really you got into.
I mean, Batman Arkham is probably the last awesome game that I got into, like the Batman series for the PlayStation 3. Those games are really, really fun for me. God of War was really cool, but
yeah, it was pretty.
I only think I played 1 and 2, and then 3 I just kind of like left off. But the Batman games have been really good.
See, my thing, and I think it kind of ties in with.
I haven't played in like 4 years.
Commander stuff is the customization of stuff. Like if you're able, like in a video game, I've always liked that where you're able to customize your character. Where God of War, it was like. You're just going through the level, you get stuff, and you beat the game. You know, everybody goes pretty much the same path. Diablo, there was a skill tree, and you could build this kind of person, and depending on what items you had.
Fable?
Yes, and I was about to say, Fable was an awesome game. That was one of my favorites.
It was just so short. Yeah. I remember it being really short.
It was short, but then the second one sucked.
I didn't touch the second one.
They got worse as they got on, because then they were trying to you can buy real estate, and...
have a family.
Well, what I ended up doing, and I got bored, and I was like, all right, I'm just going to buy this whole town. So I was just making money off of renting my houses out, and then it's kind of weird because that's what I do for a living. You know, it's like I rent.
Is this real life?
That's how I learned that skill of renting houses out. No, Fable was a sweet game because, especially the first one, it was so different that what you did in the game would change how people reacted to you if you went evil.
Grand Theft Auto was awesome too. Thinking about that.
Yeah, well, I liked the Grand Theft Auto from the computer. Like that's the one I played. I didn't
the overhead version.
Yeah,
Grand Theft Auto 3 was really good.
Yeah, I also liked Tony Hawk Pro Skater. That was my game from freshman year.
I played way more video games than I thought I did.
SSX Tricky.
I did not play that. Was that the snowboarding game?
Yeah.
No, maybe I did. I don't remember.
But yeah, like you said, Mario Kart we played the crap out of. Halo we played the crap out of. Yeah. Good times.
I'm glad I started Magic.
Now it's all Magic all the time. All right. Well, that'll do it for this week. We will catch you guys next week.
Thanks for listening.
We'll see you.
Bye.